All right, let's keep rolling along here. We've got two more games that we want to make some predictions around ahead of week 6 NWSL action. Let's go with drumroll Orlando Pride and Racing Louisville. Let's go with let's go with the purple Super Bowl here. Who are we picking and why? Orlando versus Louisville, Saturday 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. You can catch this on Paramount Plus. Orlando Pride building off of a win.
Yeah.
Exciting times, I think, if you're the Pride. Maybe that win kind of coming at just the right time for a team, like kind of closing out week 5, maybe looking back at a quarter of the season gone, looking ahead to that next one, the next stretch of the season, and you finally get that win. And it's not just any win; it's against a pretty good team in San Diego Wave FC. Racing Louisville, the opposite side of that, they were undefeated for a stretch of time, and we were like, "This is cool," but also we're seeing a common thread still play a role for this team and Kim Bjorkegren's tactics in the second consecutive season, where unfortunately we're looking at some good play where we see players out there having fun, getting some goals, but not having enough to kind of squeak out the actual win and settling for draws. So when
No
we're looking at
wins.
these two teams,
Not a single win for
no,
Racing Louisville this year.
if they finally the undefeated streak was finally snapped, but it was also snapped with a loss, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when we're looking at these two teams going head to head, they also are coming off of Louisville's also coming off of another draw against OL Reign that really they had a lot of control over, and it's definitely they're on the other side of that draw. It's the draw that feels like you let one get away. So when we're looking at these two teams go head to head on Saturday evening, do you have a winner and a loser in this one, or are the margins too fine for you to go one way or the other?
Yeah, this one, I could see it ending up as a draw. I really could, just the way that both of these seasons have gone. Racing Louisville is struggling a little bit in being almost like their ability to close out games. But it's not just closing out games, because that's the thing. They've gone down 2 goals and then they've come back and they've tied and they've gotten points. They've also gone up 2 goals and then it's come back against OL Reign. That happened last week. They went up 2 goals early, and then OL Reign comes back. Racing Louisville will also be without Savannah DeMello during this match against Orlando Pride. DeMello picked up 2 yellows, resulting in a red card in last week's game against OL Reign after DeMello was having a tremendous game for Racing Louisville. She was keeping everyone on the same page. She was the glue in the midfield for Louisville. And after DeMello went off the pitch, of course, Louisville now only playing with 10 players on the field, but that's when OL Reign started to really, truly dominate. They ended up getting their second goal, the equalizer on the night. And that was just tough. So how is Kim Bjorkegren going to adjust his midfield now that he doesn't have DeMello to build out and around? Because that's really a player that's been solidified in there. I think we'll still see Ari Borges in the midfield, Jalen Howell as well. But who else kind of rotates in and fills that spot? No matter who it is, of course, they're talented and it's the next man up mentality. But DeMello just provides so much for Racing Louisville. And without her, I'm not sure it's going to work as well. I think they're going to struggle to keep possession in the midfield. I think they're going to have a really hard time building up the ball and the play into the attack. And meanwhile, on the other side, Orlando Pride has all the confidence in the world right now. They just defeated San Diego and got 3 goals past Kaylin Sheridan. And 3 great goals, right? Like, they were really good, impressive stuff. You had Adriana getting her first NWSL goal, Michaela Clough scoring, the young player just in her sophomore season. This was a whole team effort from Orlando as well. And I think Seb Hines is going to lean on that, and he has leaned on that in training. Because of that, I'm giving it to the darker purple team. I'm going to give it to Orlando Pride, mainly because, like, without DeMello for Louisville and the confidence that Orlando has right now.
Listen, I think those are outstanding reasons to make a case for Orlando. And I'm with you. This is a match that I was going back and forth on to make one of those predictions. Of course, we do these a little bit earlier to get people ready for the weekend, so we don't actually have a full availability report in front of us. But we do know, you're correct, in that DeMello will be absent because of that red card that was issued. And that's a big player. And you
Mhm.
never want to say like this is one player that you can't lose in a game, et cetera, et cetera. No one ever wants to say them about a team full of players, right? But I think
Right.
what Savannah DeMello has been providing for this team really since her rookie year has been quite impressive. And I know there's always the tendency to maybe look at a season and look at the new faces and look at the rookies and see who's having an impact. But don't forget about those second year players, because you want to see if they're maybe taking that next step or if they're hitting that little bit of a sophomore slump. And that is not something that DeMello is hitting right now. I think providing what she does in the midfield, whether it's holding the ball, being a sort of methodical passing defender at times, or now kind of being that playmaker, a threat
Mhm.
on set pieces, that all of that's going to be absent for this game for Racing. But even with all that, when I look across at that Orlando Pride team, despite how high I am on that most recent win that they just had against San Diego, it's still not enough for me. For me to kind of go with
Yeah.
swing the pendulum one way or the other when we're looking at Racing Louisville, excuse me. No, they have not picked up that long elusive win just yet. They've got a ton of draws and they've got one loss. And where your Orlando Pride, they finally got this one win, but they also have shown that they haven't been able to do that on a consistent base. At the very least, Racing
Mhm.
Louisville has shown me that they have been able to consistently scrap out or hang on for a draw. So you would think maybe that's enough for me to go Racing, but it's not. I'm just not convinced on
Oh.
either side. There's too much purple for me. I'm gonna go with a draw. I'm gonna go
It's
with a draw in this one.
so even purples on that one. Yeah, I mean, I see that. I see how this one could end out to be a draw, but I think that like I with Adriana and the play that this player has been developing, right? We saw Viviana Villacorta as well last week kind of
Yeah.
solidify herself in that midfield. Messiah Bright getting more and more minutes. The Orlando team is growing. It took them about 4 weeks to actually like solidify
Yeah.
themselves, I think. And I have all the confidence that they're going to continue to improve upon that. Emily Madrill, we've been really high on her
Oh
in the
yeah.
back line. Definitely some mistakes have been made from this player. She's also a rookie. She's also has a lot of pressure as the starting center back in front of a new goalkeeper behind her, in front of new players on either side of her, in on a team that is struggling. And I think Emily Madrill is really stepping up. She's going to continue to go. And yeah, I like that you're going with the draw. I see it, but no, for
Yeah.
me, Orlando all the way. They've got
I
this.
I love that. I do think both of these teams are going to show up and have a good
Mhm.
game, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to kind of, like I said, pull the match one way or the other. I hear you on Villacorta as well. I think without Savannah DeMello in this game, this is a prime game for Villacorta to get in there and really kind of eat it up in the midfield. So I'm hoping to see all of that in a game like this. And again, I love to be wrong. So I would
No.
love to see it. Let's see what happens in the Purple Super Bowl. Let's talk about another game and make another prediction. OL Reign versus Houston Dash. This one has the makings of NWSL After Dark because this is kicking off on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. You can catch all the action on Paramount Plus. We've got two teams who are coming off of midweek games in the
Mhm.
Challenge Cup. Reign settling for a 0-0 draw against Angel City. Scoreless. We haven't seen the Reign get back to those scoreless goal lines at the end of a game, but they returned in the Challenge Cup
Right.
for the Seattle side. And then Houston, I believe you had them picked with the win for Challenge Cup,
I
and
do.
they delivered, Lisa, 2-0 over Chicago Red Stars. Is the midweek match and those results tipping your hat one way or the other here for these two teams? Are you holding your draw for this one where the two midweek teams are going head to head?
Honestly, the midweek action does play a factor in what we're seeing here. We saw a lot of rotation from Sam Lady. But ultimately Houston able to get it done. And of course, Diana Ordonez, right? Like I was super pumped with her. It comes from the penalty spot. I'm gonna throw her under the bus here. Not the strongest taken penalty kick, but she still finds the back of the net against Alyssa Nair in this midweek action. And then the opening goal from Houston in the opening 5 minutes against Chicago, fantastic from Olivieri. I liked what we saw from Houston in the midweek. I really did. I think that OL Reign not scoring against Angel City is okay. I mean, they had a couple great chances. Talk about Ziara King rocketing one off the post. Holy cow, my jaw dropped when I saw that. But Angel City is a really good team and a really good matchup that played OL Reign last time, the first week in the Challenge Cup, and also gave them a tough run in that one, despite OL Reign scoring 2 goals. So this one, Houston and OL Reign, I know we talked about another big match, but this is a big one for me this weekend. This is a really big game. I want to see how Houston can play against an OL Reign side that is a little bit tired from the midweek, right? Are we going to see Rose Lavelle back? We don't have availability yet at this point. But yes, I think that this is my draw for the weekend because OL Reign, the midweek hurts teams or affects them. I shouldn't say hurt. It just affects them, makes them a little bit tired, makes their legs a little bit heavier, has them thinking a little bit harder. They're changing tactics because instead of having 6 days or 5 days to prepare for an opponent, you've really only got 1 or 2 at this point. And although Laura Harvey and Sam Lady have a long history together and they're very well coaching against each other, that's what it's going to come down to. A bit of a coaching battle between those two. And I think it'll end in a draw. I think they're going to split points this weekend, these two sides.
Okay, listen, I like it. I think if there's any game that you pick a draw for, it should be the two teams who are coming off a midweek game, going head to head once more, just days later. I'm with you. I'm half tempted to have this segment of ours just be the all draw picks for me, but I'm not going to go that way. I do think that with the midweek and with the build up to a Saturday game, that there's also potential for maybe an oops or a mistake here or there when maybe you do hit that hour mark or that 75-minute mark and you see what can happen, or maybe you try some stuff. I do think an advantage that the Reign have going into this game is the fact that they are also one of the deeper teams in the league. I think if we're looking across the board, Portland and the Reign probably have the deepest benches in NWSL in this season. And I think we see that even more so with the introduction now of Challenge Cup running concurrently through the regular season. Coaches are going to get, that's a little bit of a flex. Coaches are going to get to be able to say like, look, we're going to play this Challenge Cup and we're going to take it somewhat seriously because I believe in the depth of my bench to go ahead and make this rotation and get results. And that has happened for the Reign now twice with Laura Harvey. But I think we also have to absolutely take a look at the head coaching battle in Sam Lady and Laura Harvey. What are they going to present to each other with their teams and have their game plans rolled out, and what type of adjustments may we see or not see in a game like this between these two? I'm curious to see if there is a goal or 2 or 3 in this one, where they come from, and how they are brought to life. Again, we are high on Houston Dash and the attackers that they've got in the mix, but we're not really seeing a lot of that cohesive kind of gelling type of energy between their big three just yet, between Sanchez and Ordonez and Salmon. Maybe they started out, I think, strong in the beginning weeks of that regular season, and maybe these last couple weeks or so kind of tapered off. And then the last couple goals for Ordonez have come by way of penalty, like you've mentioned. And we didn't see Ebony Salmon in that get the start in that Challenge Cup game. What does she look like going up against, OL Reign and their defensive shape? I think that, again, this is another one of those games where you're just like making a case and you're taking a look at who may or may not be available. And you're like, let me go with a draw. But I think it might come down to just like a lapse, and a mental lapse perhaps in this type of game. I'm going to say that Houston is better on the road. And I'm going to say maybe this will be my upset pick. And I'm going to go Dash in a narrow scoreline over the Reign.
Oh, I like it. Going out with a bang in this segment. I really like that, Sandra. I think that a road team in the Houston Dash, that's very fitting. That's a great identity to give them. But we'll see. I don't know. I agree. I think that if there's a lopside or like goals that happen in this one, they're going to come off of mistakes or like missed opportunities or unlucky situations that the opposition capitalizes on, and then they're able to score because both these sides are hard to break down defensively. But we'll see. I'm hoping for big stuff from Sanchez, Ordonez, and Salmon. I really want that trio to just be unstoppable. I do.
Good.
And we haven't seen it yet. We've seen moments and we've seen glimpses and individual brilliance, but they've got to come together. They do.
We'll see. Maybe this will be the game. Come through, Dash. I'm picking you.